Oh man, damn it. What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Happy Labor Day. I hope everybody is enjoying their Labor Day. First off, what's up, little baby? You the only one in the chat. You know, y'all know how YouTube do me sometime. Hold on, let me share this out on my community wall. You know how YouTube would do me sometime. All right, let's get into it. So, first of all, before we go any further, what I want to say is, if you are off today, if you are reaping the benefits of Labor Day, then I'm going to need you to thank a union member. Thank somebody that you know that is in a union, active in a union. But this is what I really want you to do. I want you to reach back. And I want you to find somebody in your family or somebody in your friend circle that's old school union. Because they're the ones that really took the brunt, okay? I want some old school union, okay? Taking it back to when they was really fighting. Nowadays, a lot of the unions are just about maintaining the status quo of what's already been established. I want to give a shout out to, what's up, Miami? Hey, boo. I want to give a shout out to the folks that are out here fighting in companies like Amazon, Tesla, Google, not Google, companies that are trying to set up and establish unions, Walmart, these big Fortune 500 companies that still do not want workers to organize and try to stop it from happening. So shout out to them. Anyway, that's my little spiel on unions, okay? That's my little spiel. So happy Monday to you guys. So I just thought I would come down here and do, what's up, Miss Bell? And do a little, oh shoot, you just reminded me of something, Miss Bell. And do a little quick chat on Brittney Spears. Now y'all know we don't talk a lot about Brittney Spears. Well, we do. I just told a lie. We do. We talk a lot about Brittney. With the Free Brittney campaign, and then we watched the documentary over here, and we did that. But we know that since she's gotten free from her conservatorship, now it's a matter of taking her father to court to figure out where all the money went, right? Because even though Britney Spears is still a very rich young lady, well, I say young lady, she's in her 40s, but even though she's still a very rich woman, the math ain't mathing compared to where her money was before this started and where her money is now. Even though while she was under the conservatorship, she did 4 studio albums, a tour for each one of those albums, and she did a 5-year Vegas residency. The math just ain't mathing as far as where all her money went. And so she's now in a battle with her father to find out, where did the money go? Where did the money go, Daddy? Now, in that, all of a sudden, we hear from Kevin Federline, who we ain't heard from in a really, 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 really long time. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we all of a sudden hear from Kevin where he has posted that Brittney's kids don't want to have anything to do with her. They don't like the fact that she's on Instagram naked, which, for the record, she ain't on Instagram naked. She's on Instagram very suggestive. And that they don't like her husband, right? Brittney responded, and her response was very classy. It was very much, I'm really sorry that you felt the need to bring this to the public platform. Nobody really needed to know that me and my sons were not in a good place. And I hope that we can work it out. I hope that we can get back, in a better space. Then Kevin released the audio tape of Brittney yelling at her kids. And I think he thought the response was going to be different. I think he thought that a lot of people were going to be like, we're going to side with him and be like, oh my goodness, how dare she talk to her sons like that? But most of the responses were like, okay, well, that's how you're supposed to talk to your, like we don't feel like she did nothing wrong. Like, she talking to her kids the way they need to be talked to. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people, myself included, was like, well, what'd she do wrong? The boys were being disrespectful, and she told them, what you're not going to do is disrespect me in my house. And if you don't like it, you ain't got to be here. If you don't like it, you don't have to be here. You know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, then Kevin decides that he needs to plead his case on a bigger platform. And he went on 60 Minutes Australia. I thought it was interesting that it was 60 Minutes Australia and not regular 60 Minutes. I guess they wasn't really interested in the story, so they sent him to their other affiliate. But he did do a little interview on 60 Minutes Australia last night, yesterday. And so we'll talk a little bit about what he said. And then Brittney did a 20-minute post and delete where she was sort of telling a little bit of her story and explaining her story. Now, she did delete it. And what I hate is that the media tried to make it seem like she was just rambling and like she was out of her mind. And it sounded like she was just talking out the side of her neck. But when you listen to the video, she's talking very calm. She's very organized as far as her story is going boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think the media still want to play games with Kevin. With her. All right, let me go back here. Let's read this. Let me see. Hey, Miss Bell. Hey, Lauren. Hey, Tracy. Hey, C. Golden. I'm with Brittney. Show me the money. Child. Is it raining in your neck of the woods? It's raining like hell here. Great city weather. It's not, but it was overcast a little earlier, but it's not raining here. I think her parents kept their hands in her pot. I do too. People are not going to let go of the bag. They have been robbing her blind. They sure have been, Citizen Jane. They absolutely have been. Amanda Bynes' parents did a conservatorship way better. I think they did too. I think they did a better job of how they handled it. I'm blaming Kevin for how the children feel. Kevin's influence is major with the boys. I agree, in my opinion. Really, B, would you be okay with your mom being on Instagram like Brittney is? Ain't no way. Well, let me say this. What's so different about what Brittney's doing on Instagram versus what Cardi B does, versus what Lizzo does, versus what Beyonce does? Like, she's on Instagram. She doesn't. She has her butt out. We've seen her butt cheeks, right? And she'll be naked, but she has little emojis covering her private parts. What's the difference between her being on Instagram with her butt out and Lizzo being on Instagram in a thong bikini? What's the difference between her being on Instagram naked but with emojis covering her woo-ha parts and Beyonce and what she was wearing on her album cover that everybody's so in love with? Tell me what the difference is. She just got little silver things covering up her nipples. I mean, I'm just, you know, I just, would I be okay with it? I'd probably be as okay with it as I would be with any of these other mamas. I mean, if it was my mama and I know that she's an entertainer and this is what she does for a living, would I like it? Probably not. But by this time I'd be used to it. Like, I'd be used to it. I mean, ain't no different than Kim Kardashian's kids. She didn't pose naked in Playboy. Vanessa Williams, Playboy. Jenny McCarthy, Playboy. Cardi's kids might care when they're 15, but they are small. That's fine. And here's the thing. I don't have a problem with them caring. I have a problem with the fact that I don't think this is coming from them. I don't think it's coming from them. I don't like none of them doing it. I don't know why folks want all their ass and titties out. That's what I'm saying, little baby. I don't like none of them doing it. But I don't feel no different about Brittney versus the next person. I personally, I mean, you know, I don't want to see none of it personally. But I don't think, because here's the thing. There was a live that was done by her son 2 years ago. Jaden, not Preston, but Jaden, 2 years ago. And Jaden said the total opposite of what's being said now. He said that he felt sorry for his mom, that his mom has been treated badly. He called his grandfather an asshole. He said that he liked his mom's boyfriend. And I just find it interesting that in 2 years, it's the total opposite. The total opposite. All of a sudden, his granddad is great and perfect. His mom is a terrible person, and he hates the boyfriend, now husband. You know what has changed in the last 2 years since he's made that since he did that live? You know what's changed? His father went from having 50% custody to 70% custody. I think it's both. I don't think her kids like it, but I 100% believe his dad put him up to it. You can't worry about the kids. Hold on. You can't worry about the kids and what they think, because when they get that grown, they leave and live their own lives. Well, that's true too, child. Kevin needs to stop with the BS with Britt. Kevin is nervous about the bag dwindling. That's not what this is about. Those kids sound like they are doing teenage power moves because Kevin promised them something. Well, what Kevin told them was, if you like this nice house and this nice lifestyle that we living in, then, you know, this is what we need to do. Because here's the thing. Okay, so let's get into this. Let's get into some of the things that's going on, okay? So Kevin did this interview on 60 Minutes Australia. And you know how they do these interviews. They come into the house and they sit down and they talk. You know, you do your little interview and you say this and that and the other. This house that Kevin lives in is absolutely gorgeous. Nice pool. It's on the cliffs. They look like they're somewhere on the cliffs. I think they live in California, but don't quote me on that. They may not live in California, but nice backyard with like this whole little like landscape thing going on. house is a beautiful house. You could tell it's one of those nice big old houses, piano and all of this. And this is coming from somebody who ain't had a job in 15 years. How you paying for all this, Kevin? How you living so good, Kevin? Brittney needs to yank back those trust funds or change the rules that have them inherit only when she dies, child. Then I don't know about that. Then I'd be worried about dying early. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing they did in this interview, which I thought was absolutely hilarious, the first thing the interviewer said was, you know how they got to give the intro to who Kevin is and him and Brittney, they were married and how they met. Now, they were very polite to mention that when he first met Brittney, he was already engaged to a whole nother woman who had a baby and was pregnant with his second child. Now, we know that was Shar Jackson, who was on the show Moesha. They were engaged to be married. They already had one child together, and she was pregnant with the second child. So we already know that. So they were real polite about how they worded that, right? They were real polite about that. So then they, talked about their love, their love and their marriage and all of that. And then he said that, he was blindsided by the divorce, that that he found out about the divorce, and then he immediately, because they were separated, and then she filed for divorce, and this was after she was already showing signs of, being unstable. So then he immediately reached out to his attorney to try to get 50% custody because he wanted to have custody of his children, and it didn't matter to him, about the money. He would sacrifice the money for his kids. I ain't see you fighting that hard for them other two. I didn't see you fighting that hard. You literally left Shar Jackson's ass pregnant and flew to the other side of the world to go on the European tour with Brittney and didn't even look backwards. You were still engaged to that woman when you left her and went on tour with Brittney. She found out about the affair when the rest of us did. But now all of a sudden you're so concerned about your churn. They didn't say he cheated on Star with Brittney. Yeah, no, well, they said they did, but they didn't. They didn't come right out and say it that bluntly, but they alluded to it. Right? Was Kevin other kids with Shar Jackson like Brittney's kids? What you mean? I don't know what that means. Like Brittney's kids. I don't know what that means. Meanwhile, according to the rumors, Shar and Brittney have their own relationship through the kids. They might. They very well might. The one thing I can appreciate is that Shar Jackson never came after Brittney that I remember. That was years ago, so maybe she did in a moment. But I have seen her be very mature about the fact that her issue is with Kevin and not Brittney. That Kevin is the one that left. Kevin is the one that cheated on her. Kevin is the one that left her pregnant. Even though Brittney was a part of it, I've seen her be very mature about not coming after Brittney. And again, this was years ago. Maybe she did in the beginning, and I don't remember. But overall, I remember her always focusing on Kevin being the person she had the issue with. She kept it classy. I think she did. I think I remember her doing that. Again, she never have a whole lot nice to say about him. But definitely her. Being disrespectful. I mean, Shar Jackson isn't really in, her or her kids aren't really in the spotlight. So I really don't know. So then they made it seem like Kevin walked away from the spotlight and Kevin left the spotlight to take care of his kids and protect his kids. No. Once him and Brittney were no longer together, nobody cared about Kevin. He didn't have to leave anything. He was never a part of it. He was there by proxy through his relationship with Brittney. He wasn't an A-lister. Nobody knew who the fuck Kevin Federline was until he started dating Britney Spears. And then it was, Brittney started dating her backup dancer. No, what? What? No problem, Sharice. I'm like, why are you trying to make it seem like Kevin was this big A-lister that hooked up with another A-lister and there was something for him to walk away from? Sir, when Brittney left your ass, so did the paparazzi. Nobody gave a damn about you. Only thing I remember hearing about Kevin Federline after that was how fat he was getting. Remember when he went on Celebrity Fit Club? Y'all remember that show, Celebrity Fit Club, used to come on, I think, VH1, and they would have these celebrities that would come on there with Dr. Ian, and they would try to lose weight. Now, I do remember they was being messy, and the season that they had Kevin on there was the same season that they had Shar Jackson. Y'all remember that? They was being real messy, and they had the two of them on there together. But that's the only thing I heard about Kevin Federline after him and Britney Spears got divorced, outside of whenever there was some custody issue with the churn. Don't nobody care about you, Kevin. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. So when they made it seem like he had to walk away from the spotlight, sir, you didn't have to walk away from nothing. Kevin used to call the paparazzi on himself and drop dimes on Britt. A lot of them used to do that. I believe it. A lot of the Kardashians used to do it. Lindsay Lohan used to do it. Hell, the Kardashians still do it, quiet as it's kept. Lindsay Lohan used to do it. A lot of them did that. Because remember, before social media, getting a picture by the paparazzi and getting in Star Magazine or Us Magazine or hell, even the National Enquirer was the thing. But now you got Instagram, you can take your own pictures and post them and do your own videos and stuff now, child. Yep, his fat ass went on there and ain't losing an ounce. I don't remember him losing no weight either. I did because he had that child by the girl that used to play on Moesha. Yeah, Shar Jackson. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dr. Ian and the female psychologist. Yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or people would complain always about the paparazzi, but then they would go to all the hot spots where they knew the paparazzi was hanging out. Child, if you're going to go to the Ivy to eat lunch, it's going to be a bunch of paparazzi at the Ivy to eat lunch, child. If you don't want to be spotted, don't go to the Ivy. There's 5,000 restaurants in LA where you probably could get away with most people not paying you no mind, but you go to the Ivy. So you clearly want to get your pictures taken. Like that kind of shit. Anyway. Hey, Zara. Hey, boo. So they have Kevin. They're interviewing Kevin in this nice house. Sorry. Let me see if I can find it. Because y'all know I ain't gonna, I don't want no copyright, so I ain't gonna show y'all but so much. But it's a nice house now. It looks like it's a nice house. But for somebody that ain't had a job in 15 years, I'm a little suspect as to how you affording it. Okay? Let me just let y'all see a little bit of it. I'm not going to have the volume up. I'm just going to let y'all see a little bit of it. You see that nice kitchen? That's his wife. That's Kevin's new wife. That's Kevin. See the kids out in the pool? Look at that nice pool. Look at that backyard. Look at that. Ain't that beautiful? Look at that. Look how nice that is. You see that? Child, I said, okay then. For somebody that ain't had a job. Now, mind you, him nor his wife work. And they have 2 more children. And him nor his wife have a job. And Kevin ain't worked in 15 years. Since Britney Spears has been under her conservatorship. Now, according to the records, allegedly, like I say allegedly because the records might not be accurate. Allegedly, he gets $30,000 a month in child support. That's $15,000 per child. Now, he was getting something like $20,000 a month when he had 50-50 custody. Now, let's be clear. In most cases, not all, because, Custody changes from state to state, jurisdiction to jurisdiction. But in most places, if you have 50-50 custody, there is no child support. Because you have the child 50% of the time. I have the child 50% of the time. So why was he making $20,000 a month? A month. A month. When you have 50-50 custody. Brittney Spears absolutely is taking care of everybody. We're going to get to Brittney in a minute. Because Brittney did a video too. We're going to get to her in a minute. So he spoke about how they asked him. Now the thing, my other problem with this interview was I don't feel like they asked enough hard questions. They didn't ask enough of the hard questions. So when they were asking him about the video, the tape that he dropped of Brittney yelling at the kids, she asked him why he felt like he needed to do it. He never explained why he did it. He just said that he doesn't regret doing it. But why did you feel like what were you hoping to accomplish by letting us hear a 2-year-old video of Brittney yelling at her kids after they had been disrespectful to her? At least according to her in the video, they had been disrespectful to her. I don't know what you thought you were going to gain from that. Child, you right, Eb. You right, Regina. After me and Ebby get our OnlyFans foot pages set up, you right. We're gonna be at all the paparazzi restaurants, child. Thank you, Regina, for liking the video. In 2018, he applied for it to be increased to $60,000 a month, but they settled on a lower amount. Right. So in 2018, thank you. That's when his custody went. In 2018 is when he went from if I remember the timeline, and y'all correct me if I got the timeline wrong, but in 2018 is when they put Brittney in that facility. And when we get to Brittney's video, Brittney talks about how they put her in the facility because she wouldn't agree to change a dance move in her stage show. That is when his custody went from 50% to 70%, and that's when he asked for the increase in child support. And you're right. He wanted like $60,000 a month, and the father was like, hell no. And they settled. And I want to say they settled at $30,000, but it might be more than that. But my understanding was that they settled at about $30,000. But either way, $30,000 a month for child support from 2018 until now. No wonder you ain't working. No wonder you're not working. Because Brittney has money. What, you talking about the custody piece? Let me see here. Kevin was making $1.4 million a month for the past 4 years off of Brittney's. $1.4 million a year for the past 4 years off of Brittney Spears, if the $30,000 number is correct. That don't take into account if we wrong and it's more than $30,000. But if he was getting $30,000 a month, if I did my math wrong, y'all tell me, because math wasn't my thing. But I just multiplied 12 times 4, because it's 4 weeks in a month, 12 months out of the year. And then I multiplied that by 30, and I got $1.4 million. Now, y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. So you have been making $1 million, almost $1.5 million for the past 4 years. Of course you don't want to see that end. Because who wants to go back to work? You literally have not had a job in 15 years. And let's be clear. Before that, you were a dancer. And there's no disrespect for dancers, because we know dancers can make a lot of money. But, sir, you were a hip-hop backup dancer in the 1990s, sir. What does your resume say, sir? Because I could even see if you were still in shape, and I'd be like, well, he's still in shape. Maybe he can go do some choreography or something. So you're not even in shape no more. You can't dance. And who knows if you can choreograph anything. The last dance moves you did was, maybe hits from the early 2000s. What's your resume looking like, bruh? No, not per month. No. Not per month, per week. Did I say per month or per week? Hold on, y'all. Let me get my money together. He's making 30,000. No, you know what? I did do the math wrong. I said per week. It was per month. You're right. $360,000 a year. My bad. I'm right. I'm wrong. I said per week. It was per month. It was per month. So you're right. $360,000. $360,000 still ain't nothing to sneeze at, though. But I did it per week. And it is per month. My bad, y'all. I did my math wrong. It's per week. It's per month, not per week. Per month, not per week. Per month, not per week. Let me say that again. Because I promise y'all, somebody gonna put it in the chat. In the comments. Somebody gonna put it in the comments after this video and be like, you did the math wrong. I am saying it one more time for the people in the back. I did the math wrong. I was doing per week instead of per month. It is per month. So $30,000 per month is $360,000 a year, which is still a lot of damn money. Still a lot of damn money. Okay. I felt child support should require an outside financial manager, and all people need to show proof of work and suitable self-income. I'm going to say this. I do think some things are situational, meaning if there were a reason why he could not work, that's one thing. If the kids were infants or things like that, maybe. But at the end of the day, these kids grown. They in high school. You have no reason not to take and let's be clear, in this day and age, he could start an at-home business. He don't have to go work a 9 to 5 and punch a clock. Hell, he could do a YouTube. He could do an Etsy page. He could start an online boutique. Like, there are options that he could do that don't require him to literally leave the house. Like, you could have been doing something that, like, there are options. You could do a podcast. Like, there's shit you can do to make money. He's a DJ. Okay, you could be DJing. Child. These women need to have better prenups that include what kind of child support these deadbeats daddies will get. I'll be doggone if I pay $30K to any baby daddy, put me in jail. Well, that's part of the problem. Did her and Kevin even have a prenup? I think they must have had a prenup. Because if they didn't have a prenup, he'd be making more money off of her. They must have had a prenup. Yeah, they must have had a prenup. Child support has no gender. The support is to keep the children in the same lifestyle. I understand that. Like, I get that. I understand that. But I also feel like, and again, I agree that there is no gender. Like, I don't think women should get more than men get and vice versa. But what I will say is, let me get back to my point because we're going way left with it. My point is, I feel like a lot of what Kevin is doing over the last couple of weeks is to preserve his lifestyle. It is to preserve his lifestyle. Because people keep saying, oh, well, the kids are about to be 18. I don't even think it's about the kids getting ready to turn, because the youngest son is 15. So he still, give or take, has 3 years of this. I think what he's more concerned about is, remember, Brittney is in the process of doing an accounting of where her money has gone over the last 13 years. Brittney is in the process of auditing. Her lawyers are getting affidavits from her father, and they've even threatened to make her father have to pay some of this money back that they feel was spent inappropriately. So I'm saying all that to say this. I think Kevin's biggest concern, or bigger concern, isn't 3 years from now. I think Kevin's bigger concern is they're going to get into that money and realize how much money he's actually making in child support and reduce the child support. I don't even think he's worried about 3 years from now. I think his more immediate concern is they gonna see how much money her father's been kicking me. Because, and again, this is according to a report, so that don't make it true. Just because I'm saying it, don't make it true. But according to the reports that I read, the father was kicking Kevin all kinds of money. It wasn't just the monthly child support. Kevin was getting money for this and money for that and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, honestly, I think that that's what his concern is. I think his concern is they're going to start going through those lists and crossing those T's and dotting those I's and realize how much money Kevin actually is making. And that's going to get reduced sooner than those kids turning 18. Now, that's my opinion. I don't know that to be true, but that's my opinion. Same lifestyle at my house. He can provide whatever lifestyle he can afford at his house. Get a job, Chicolo. Yeah, Miss Gigi, but that's what the law says. The law says if the kids... I'm trying to think of a good example. Ideally, child support is so that the kids do not feel the mismatch going from one household to the next. So if they're living in a gated community in Beverly Hills Monday through Friday, then on the weekends, ideally, they shouldn't be going to Section 8. Ideally. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to provide a gated community in Beverly Hills, but it shouldn't be this. Ideally, you know. Right. It says the law says the kids' environment change doesn't need to be drafted. Right. So it doesn't mean that they have to both live in a gated community in Beverly Hills, but one shouldn't be living in a $20 million mansion and the other one living in Section 8 in the hood. You know what I'm saying? That's ideally. That's what the idea is. And so that's why you see these athletes and these big time people having to pay so much money in child support. It's to maintain the lifestyle. Okay. But I do think sometimes it just be ridiculous. Hold on, let me see what this says. I know ReallyB, I'm in the process of starting my small home business, so I will be a boss and employee and not have to leave the house to clock in at child. Listen, I'm working on it, child. I'm working on it. That's what I'm trying to get to, honey. So I think that's what, and again, this is just my opinion, y'all. I don't have nothing, but I don't think this is about 3 years from now. I really don't. I don't think this is about him preparing for 3, because Kevin just don't come off as the kind of person that prepares that far in advance. Like, I don't see him being that calculated, but I do feel like Brittney's daddy is that calculated. Now that I believe, and do I believe that Brittney's daddy and Kevin have been talking or in cahoots? Now that I believe, I absolutely believe that. But do I believe Kevin is that calculating? I don't. I don't. Miss Gigi says, screw the law. Yeah. Yep. So that's what I'm saying. I think that this is more of a scheme cooked up by Todd to come with the bullshit, honestly. I really feel like this is more of, because it's coming out of nowhere. Kevin has been relatively quiet all these years. All these years, Kevin has been relatively quiet. And now all of a sudden, he got so much to say. Man, you dropping audio tapes from like you had people thinking that was recent. That tape is from 2 years ago. And I still don't feel like Brittney did or said nothing wrong. But that video is that audio tape is from 2 years ago. We don't know the context. We don't know what happened before that. We don't know why Brittney was yelling at those boys. But even when you listen to the tape, I don't feel like Brittney said nothing wrong. Brittney said, you're not going to disrespect me in my house. You're not going to talk to me like I'm one of your little friends. Now, I think most of us have heard that sentence spoken in our household. You're not going to talk to me like I'm one of your little friends. Who ain't heard their mama say that? I know I've heard my mama say that 1 million times. Yeah, Kevin doesn't have that much foresight. His concerns are more immediate due to forensic accounting once Brittney's people do the financial breakdown. Yeah. Brittney said that the boy was walking around with no shoes on. Wait a minute. Brittney said that boy was walking around with no shoes on. I feel like there's more to it than that. That's because he's running scared. He's not smart and he's clutching at straws. If Kevin's wife is okay with him not working, I'm wondering what her input has been. Shit. I would listen. If my husband is bringing home $30,000 a month, I don't know if I'm pressing him out to get a job either. They probably never thought the gravy train was going to end. Because remember, Brittney been under this conservatorship for 13 years. They didn't think this was ever going to end. They probably thought that once the kids got to be 18, they probably thought they were still, that the father who was in charge of Brittney's money would continue to look out. That's just how I feel. Now, I could be wrong, but I feel that way, child. The entire family had their hand in Brittney's money. They thought that conservatorship was going to keep them in the money. Yeah, exactly. They never thought that I don't think they ever thought that they would lose control. They never thought the way. Listen, and we talked about this before, child. We did the whole breakdown of this conservatorship. If only half of what they said is true, which I believe more than half was true, but if only half of what they said was true, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. There you go, citizen. Yeah, a lot of these now, child support, they go through college. A lot of them do go through college now. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I got to side eye you, Kevin, because if you were really that concerned and it was really some issues, you wouldn't have just, first of all, there's no need for you to say anything. There really was no need for you to tell us anything. And if you want to take her to court, take her to court. If you have an issue, then have the issue. But there was really no need for us to know anything. And I felt like that was a real cheap shot by you bringing it to the media because you were trying to win the court of public opinion. You were trying to win the court of public opinion is what you were trying to do. That's what you were trying to do. And it didn't work. And so now you had to back up off of that. So now you do this interview with 60 Minutes Australia. First of all, don't nobody care about no 60 Minutes Australia. I don't know who you think care. Oh, shoot. Okay. I don't know who you think care about a 60 Minutes Australia interview. I just happened to be scrolling through the internet and found it. I didn't even realize that that it was still there. Let's listen to a little bit. I'm going to let y'all listen to a little snippet of it, child. I don't even know what he's talking about. I'm just going to start in the middle. The video is only about 18 minutes long.
To make it better. For Sean Preston and Jaden, their very famous mum's very infamous conservatorship added to the confusion of being brought up as the children of divorced parents. Even today, Jaden believes his grandfather, Jamie Spears, only had good intentions for his daughter.
First, I mean, everyone was mostly hitting him for the conservatorship, right? But I think at first he was just trying to be like any father, like pursue her daughter's dream of like being a superstar and working and going and all these concerts and performing. But I think some people are just like ceasing to realize how much he cares about her.
That's actually a good place for me to go to. Notice how he said in the beginning, I think he had good intentions. That makes me think that maybe you don't necessarily believe his intentions at this point. The other thing that I thought was interesting is that they said that both boys are musically inclined. So I'm wondering if Kevin might be trying to push them to go into music. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's listen to a little bit. Now, that's Kevin. Again, you can find it. I'll put the link in the chat. The 60 minutes, it's 18. It's not that long, y'all. It's 18 minutes. I'll put it in the chat so y'all can go get it when we get done here. We ain't gonna be here that much longer. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's the link. Why wasn't that auto deleted anyway? What audio? It's always about the money. In my opinion, they all have robbed her blind, including the lawyers. Absolutely, the lawyer. Remember, under the conservatorship, remember this. If y'all ever are confused about the fact that that about how badly her conservatorship was being abused, remember this. When Brittney finally did get her a lawyer, and she was suing and going to court to try to get the conservatorship overturned. Remember this. Britney Spears' father's attorneys were being paid through her conservatorship. So Brittney essentially was paying for her father's lawyers to defend him against her. Her conservatorship was paying for her father to defend himself against her. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. Honestly, once the kid turns 18, she won't be financially responsible for them. That's the only thing that is a financial burden that connects her to that man. But that's what we were saying, Wendy. Depending on how the child support order is written up, nowadays most child support orders go through college. So if the kids are in college, she'll still be responsible. She'll still have to pay child support through college, depending on how it's written, depending on how her child support is written. Yep, everyone was getting paid, including her sister. Everybody was getting paid. And Brittney, so let me let y'all listen to a little bit of this audio of Brittney. So this is the audio, and I'll put this link in the chat too. Of Brittney's interview that she did. I mean, not interview. This is the audio that she dropped on her channel. I mean, that she posted on Instagram, and then she took it down. But this is 22 minutes, so we're not going to listen to the whole thing. But I'm going to let y'all listen to a little bit of what she was saying.
Had tons of opportunities, Oprah interviews, to go on a platform and share hardships or just really anything that's going on in my mind. And I really don't think any of that is relevant to getting paid to tell your story. I feel like it's kind of silly. So I'm here, honestly, just to open myself to others and try to shed a light on if anyone out there has ever gone through hardships or whatever it is, just to put a light on it. And so that person doesn't feel alone, because I really know what that feels like. I haven't honestly shared this openly too as well, because I've always been scared of the judgment and definitely the embarrassment of the whole thing, period, and the skepticism and the cynical people of what and their opinions of what people would actually think. I do think I'm in a place now where I'm a little bit more confident that I can be willing to share openly my thoughts and what I've been through, because I haven't really had that outlet to share completely openly for so long. Just scared of judgments, thoughts of other people and what they think or what they may say. And I think it's crucial for my heart and my head to be able to speak openly about it as if anyone else would. Well, the actual conservatorship actually started, I think, 15 to 16 years ago. I was 25 when it started. I was extremely young. I remember a lot of my friends texting me and calling me, and we're extremely close, and they wanted to see me, but by what had happened, honestly, still to this day, don't know what really I did. But the punishment of my father, I wasn't able to, see anyone or like anything. So you have to imagine none of it made sense to me.
So, like I said, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but the first thing she's talking about is that once the conservatorship started, the first thing her father did was block her friends from being able to contact her. We know that she wasn't allowed to have a cell phone. And when they did finally allow her to have a cell phone, they tracked it, they traced it, they knew the numbers going in and out. You know, she wasn't allowed to be on it by, you know, like alone, right? Like she's a child. She wasn't allowed to have cash. Everything that she purchased had to go through her father. He had to approve everything. And what I found interesting was she just said just a second ago, she said, I still don't know what I did that was so bad. Now on that one, Brittney, I can't go with you on that, girl, because you was wilding. Okay, you was wilding out. But what I do find interesting is 2 weeks after her father went to court to get this emergency conservatorship because she was such a danger to herself and he was so worried about her, 2 weeks later, she was working. 2 weeks later, she did a guest starring role on How I Met Your Mother. And then after that, they put her back in the studio. And then after that, she went on tour. And like I said, she did 4 studio albums while she was under the conservatorship. She did tours while she was under the conservatorship. And she did a 5-year Vegas residency. And so if part of your concern was about your daughter's well-being and mental health, why y'all working her so hard? Wendy, it depends on the state. And it depends on how you get your child support payment written. I mean, I know up here in my area, I know my cousin, he had to pay for college. He has 2 kids. One kid went to college, the other one didn't. The one that didn't go to college, he was done at 18. The one that did go to college, he had to continue to pay child support. Now, he didn't have to pay her tuition. He had to keep paying child support until she was done with college. He didn't have to keep paying her tuition. I mean, he didn't have to pay her tuition or books or nothing like that, but he did have to keep paying his child support. So it depends on how, now that he was married and then they were divorced, and that was a part of how their order was written after the divorce. So it depends on the state you live in. It depends on what the jurisdiction, what the laws are in your state. Yes, it does. Child support changes, just like the divorce laws are different state to state. Child support is different state to state. So it does depend on where you live. So you said in Miami, it doesn't matter. It ends at 18. Yeah, it depends. Actually, I understand her when she says she doesn't know what she did that was bad. Lindsay Lohan was way worse and actually on drugs, and no one even treated her the way they treated Brittney. But that's because her parents didn't get a conservatorship. Her parents never tried to get a conservatorship. Thank you, Marilyn, because you made me remember something. Now, Brittney did say that in this audio. Brittney said when she was taken to the hospital, they found no alcohol in her system. They found no drugs in her system. So again, they made her go to AA meetings as if she were an alcoholic, but she never had any when she went to the hospital, she didn't have any alcohol in her system. But that was part of what she had to do, was she had to go to AA meetings. But the support is supposed to go to a school expenses, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know that much. I guess it depends on how it's written. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I just know he still had to pay child support, but he wasn't paying her tuition. I just know that. And the reason why I know that's because it was a whole situation where his ex-wife had made it seem like he didn't want to pay for college, and he was like, made it seem like he was doing something wrong. And he was like, no, I'm doing what our divorce decree said. Like, it was in their divorce decree that he had to keep paying child support, but didn't have to pay for college. Like, he was like, I don't have to do both. But she was trying to make it seem like he was supposed to be doing both. Anyway, child, that was it. Tragic had her in AA and she was an alcoholic. Right. So a couple of years ago, A couple of years ago, and we heard about this in the documentary, she refused to change up a dance routine or something like that. And, of course, the complaint went all the way to the father, and the father put her in a facility. And she didn't want to go. She complained, and the father was like, either you go to the facility or I'm going to take you to court to make you go, and you will lose. She said that a friend was the person that finally helped her. A friend that she had made was the person that finally helped her get an attorney to be able to fight and to get from up under the conservatorship. But she talked about being in this facility, and it was a live-in facility. Once again, she was cut off from her family. She was cut off from, everybody. And she said she remembers calling her mom and begging her mother, like, "Mom, get me out of here. I don't need to be here. I don't have to, get me out of here." And her complaining about getting out of there. And she said she blames her mom more than she blames her father, because she told her mother, "I need to get out of here. Like there's nothing wrong with me, and y'all have me in here." She said that she called one time from the facility, and her whole family was at her beach house in Destin, Florida. She said, "So how do you think I felt that I'm sitting in this facility, don't deserve to be here, don't need to be here, there's nothing wrong with me, and I call my mom, and my whole family is vacationing at my beach house?" I wonder if the kid was a forever student, never graduates, but keeps on going semester. Is there a limit on that, or they still got to pay? Again, I guess it just depends on how it's written, Wendy. Again, I don't know. The answer is I don't know. It just depends on how it's written. Yeah, it depends on how it's written. Some, it might be written if they want to stay at school to get a PhD. Others, I know there's some that has an age limit, or even a degree limit. Like, you pay for undergrad, but everything other that is on you. Depends on how it's written. She got a beach house in Destin. That's what she said in the video. She said in Destin. Remember, under the conservatorship, Brittney was not allowed to leave the continental U.S. Remember, under the conservatorship, if you guys remember, Brittney used to always vacation in Hawaii, because Hawaii, it was still under the umbrella of the conservatorship. If Brittney had left the country, or had somehow been able to get away and go somewhere where her conservatorship did not have jurisdiction, then she probably could have stayed there and fought the conservatorship. But if you guys notice, Brittney, she had a house in Hawaii. I forgot which island, but she had, I think it might have been Maui. And that's where she went every year. Everywhere she went to Hawaii, because that was the only place where she was allowed. If you in the documentary, they said that was the only place she was allowed to go. I mean, as far as outside of the continental U.S., because it was still under the umbrella of the conservatorship. She couldn't go to the islands. She couldn't go, and when she did travel for work, for business outside of the continent, they had so much control over her, they wasn't going to let her do nothing crazy. When your mom won't help you, that girl must have felt so alone. Yeah. I think it's a condo, but yes, she has property in Destin. Okay. This is some crazy ish. I wonder if there were only Black stars that were in this situation. If there were any Black stars in this, not to this extent, but there were definitely other people. Let me let y'all listen to a little bit more. I'm just going to fast forward to a random point. So I don't know where I just want y'all to hear a little bit more.
House, and I got the fire back in my eyes for some reason. And it was at the end of recording Glory, and my son named it. And things started.
This is where her talking about her starting to fight back, her starting to kind of come from up underneath the fog a little bit. Okay.
Taking a turn, because I started getting more confidence just for myself. And I think with confidence, people kind of like, oh, wait, wait, what's going on now? Like, she's speaking up a little bit more, but it might not be particularly a good thing if I've been quiet for 15 years. I think with confidence comes enlightenment, which makes you think better. And that's the last thing they wanted me to do, is to actually be better. Because then who would be in control then? But it was really tricky because I had to just play this role that everything was okay all the time. And I had to go along with it because I knew they could hurt me. So I'm sitting here, like, my friends all drinking alcohol and having fun in these parties and had no cash. I literally felt like a nun. My girlfriends from home came to visit me in a spa, and I couldn't even walk into the spa. And they had their feet doing pedicures in the water, and the 3 ices of bottles of champagnes before my show just sitting there. And I wasn't even acknowledged by them, my own hometown friends, when they would come to Vegas. And it was just, it was demoralizing, I will say.
So again, she just talks a little, and I'll send y'all the link to this. It was just a little bit more about her explaining the experience being in, this is when she was in Vegas. And a little bit further on, she talks about when they wanted her to do this dance move, and she was like, no, I don't want to do it. And then her being punished basically for not wanting to do the dance move. And they spoke on that in the documentary. Let me see what it says.
The main thing, I to this day, I kind of stopped believing in God at that time, because I didn't know how they could have 40 people leave my house a day and me work from 8 to 6 at night. Be seen changed every time I changed in the shower. No privacy, no door, nothing. How did they get away with it? And what the fuck did I do to deserve that? I couldn't even.
All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll give you guys the link, but she's talking about how she lost her faith in God during this time, because she was like, basically, why would God let this happen to me? What did I do to deserve to be treated like this? What did I do to deserve this? And why would God allow this to happen? She talked about, you heard her on the video talking about how she wasn't allowed to, when she took a shower, somebody had to watch her. She was never allowed to be alone. And if you go back to the documentary, and we did a review of the documentary on here, I'm going to see if I can find the link, and I'm going to post it. But we talked about the documentary on here, and they talked about how even when she was with her boyfriend, they had devices in her bedroom where they could listen to her. And the idea was to listen to her conversations. The idea was to listen to her conversations, but they would be listening when she was spending time with her boyfriend. Y'all can read between the lines. So that's the link for that audio. It's about 22 minutes. Again, we're not going to listen to the whole thing. I didn't want to do a whole play-by-play of the audio, because she's not rambling. I don't like the fact that they made it seem like she was rambling. Did y'all think she was rambling? I feel like she was very calm. I feel like she was just telling her story. I didn't feel like she was all over the place. I didn't feel like she wasn't making sense. I feel like she was telling a story from her point of view. And like she said at the beginning, she said, listen, everybody has been wanting me to tell my story. Everybody has been wanting me to sit down. She said, everybody from Oprah, on down has wanted me to come and talk to them. And I don't know if this could be confined to an interview. She was like, I just want to kind of just tell my story. And I feel like that was her. She was just talking. So I didn't like the fact that they made it seem like she was just rambling, because she wasn't. She was, to me, and if you go back and listen to it, she's very coherent, and she starts at the beginning and she works her way all the way forward. And the only people that she really bashes is her family. She don't even say nothing about Kevin. And mind you, this audio was done after Kevin did what he did and posted the audio of her and all that. She didn't even come after Kevin. She talked about her father. She talked about her sister. Her mom. She even talked about her brother, who she very, very rarely talks about her brother. But she even talked about her brother. But I don't think that she was rambling. she's stronger than me because I would be throwing hands with the ex-husband, father, mother, and and that's what I'm saying. Like when people start talking about, oh, well, she's, acting crazy and she's on Instagram being naked and she's doing this and she's doing that. I don't mean no harm, but I think she deserves a little grace. I think she deserves a little grace. If she wants to act a fool for a minute and kind of lose it for a little bit, I think she's earned that. Even if she were just on Instagram just naked. She's had strangers looking at her naked body for the last 15 years. And I'm not saying that it's okay, but I'm saying I understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand it. I understand it. I just got in the room and the first thing I see is, foot, Lord, I'm on the floor. Child. That woman has been held captive. Let her live. Let her love. I think you mean let her live, see golden, but yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and so I guess, going back to Tracy's question at the beginning when she was like, how would I feel if she were my mom? I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I would be okay with my mama being naked all over the Instagram. I'm not saying that, but I'm also saying that I don't feel like Brittney's doing anything different than what half these mamas in the show business are doing right now all over social media. And when you do take into consideration who she is and what she's been through, I just ain't got no issues with her. Now, I ain't saying I'm going to always agree with everything that Brittney does and says, because I'm sure there are going to be times where I'm going to be like, okay, y'all, Brittney tripping. But right now, I'm just let that woman do her thing. I just got to let her do her thing right now. You know what I mean? Anyway, y'all, I ain't mean to be here this long. I've been here for an hour. I really only meant to be here for about 30, 40 minutes. Y'all always get me running my mouth. I would have handled the situation a lot worse. I think most of us would. The family don't care about Brittney. What's up, Markel? They sure don't. They sure don't care about Brittney. You ain't lying about that. They care about that paycheck that they losing. That's in my opinion. And I hate to see that her sons, although I'm not surprised by her sons. You have to remember that they have been raised under the influence of the grandfather, the grandmother, the aunt, the father. They have been raised seeing their mother being treated like a child. And I'm sure that they've been told their whole life it's for, you've been sick, you'll call me tomorrow. Oh no, I was sick too. I'm a lot better now, but I was sick too. Well, I hope you feel better. Yeah, call me tomorrow, boo. Because I got to get back on my grind too. Now that I'm feeling better, I got to get back on my grind, child. The money is all they care about. It ain't no telling what the kid's daddy has said. And that's what I'm saying. I'm really surprised. Like, honestly, I'm not surprised at the kids doing what they doing. I'm really not. I honestly am not. But I know it was the influence. It was the influence. It'll be interesting to fast forward 5 or 6 years and see where we end up about 5 or 6 years from now. Thank you, Shay. But let me get off of here, child. I'm going to go. I said I wasn't going to buy no crabs this weekend because I knew they were going to be expensive because of Labor Day. But I really got a taste for some crabs. I'm about to see what the prices are. If the prices are too ridiculous, then I ain't fooling with it, child. But if it's reasonable, then I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna check it out, child. I'm gonna check it out. Anyway, it was crazy. I was raised with my grandma, and our mother gave us up, but she never talked bad about either of our parents. Yeah, and you gotta respect that. You gotta respect that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody, oh, I'm glad I just saw that. So I put a video up yesterday about the football league, and then it was brought to my attention that the password wasn't working. So it looks like, although I don't know why the password wasn't working because the password is correct, but I don't know why it wasn't working. So what it'll probably be easier for you guys to do is to send me an email address, and I will forward you the invitation. Because once you get the invitation, you just click the link and that's it. All the information is in the email. So if you are interested in, and I'm going to put this on my community wall. If you are interested in signing up for the Pick'em League, Send me your email address to this email, ReallyBThePodcast @gmail.com. And I'm gonna do this up on the community wall too. Once you send me the email, then I'll send you the invitation, and it's a lot easier that way. I want to have at least 5 people so it is competitive. If you didn't see the video, there's a first, second, and third place winner. So I need at least 5 people so that we're competitive amongst each other for the first, second, and third place. Okay. But the video, everything else in the video, go back to the video and look at it. Explains to you how the league works and how you're gonna pick your picks and all that good stuff. You don't have to be a football guru. You can just pick winners and then rank it, and then that's it. Simone and I will be back at 7:00 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for reminding me of that. I got to send her the link. We will be back at 7:00 Eastern Standard Time, and we will be discussing the Tasha K, Jessica Reed, Charlemagne video, and we will be discussing the Tiffany Haddish, Ari Spears situation with Girl Is That Legal, the legal analyst. So she will answer all of the questions, and if we have time, we'll drop the link for you guys to come up and ask her questions. But last time, y'all just asked questions from the chat, and we answered them from the chat. Not too many people came up when I dropped the link, so I'll drop the link though. If she has time, I'll drop the link. But if not, you can always ask your questions from the chat, and we'll answer them. Okay, but yeah, meet me back here at 7:00. Okay, talk to y'all later. Peace.